Do you ever feel lost in a maze of your own thoughts, staring at a problem, yet the solution remains stubbornly out of reach? We all crave clarity, that spark of insight that cuts through confusion. Sometimes, the answers we seek are hidden, not because they are complex, but because we aren't asking the right questions to unearth them. Imagine possessing a key, a universal tool that could unlock deeper understanding, foster creativity, and sharpen your intellect. This isn't a mythical artifact, but a skill, a way of thinking. It's the art of asking better questions, a method championed by one of history's greatest minds. We journey back to ancient Athens, not to its grand temples, but to its bustling marketplace, where a philosopher named Socrates engaged in conversations that would change the course of Western thought. He didn't offer easy answers. Instead, he wielded questions like a master craftsman, sculpting understanding from raw ignorance. Socrates believed that the path to wisdom, to thinking smarter, begins not with proclaiming what we know, but with humbly acknowledging what we don't. His famous paradox, "I know that I know nothing," isn't a statement of ignorance, but a profound starting point for genuine inquiry. So what is a better question? It's one that probes beneath the surface, that challenges assumptions, that clarifies meaning, and that explores consequences. It's the difference between asking, "Is this good?" and "What are the criteria by which we judge this as good, and what are its potential impacts?" Our minds often operate on autopilot, relying on unexamined beliefs and assumptions. These are like hidden currents beneath the water, shaping our thoughts without our conscious awareness. Better questions act like a light, illuminating these hidden depths, bringing them into view for examination. Consider a common assumption. "I'm not good at X." A surface question might be, "Why not?" A Socratic approach would dig deeper. What specific experiences led me to this belief? Is this belief universally true in all contexts? What evidence might contradict it? What would change if I no longer held this belief? This Socratic method isn't about being argumentative or contrarian. It's a collaborative exploration of truth. It's about dissecting ideas, not to destroy them, but to understand their foundations, their strengths, and their weaknesses. It's intellectual midwifery, helping to birth clearer thoughts. One key aspect of Socratic questioning is the pursuit of clear definitions. We often use abstract terms like justice, success, or happiness without a precise understanding. Socrates would persistently ask, "What do you mean by that?" until a clearer, more robust definition emerged. Imagine you're discussing freedom. A Socratic inquiry might start with, "What is freedom? Is it the absence of constraints, the ability to do whatever one wants? Does my freedom impinge on another's?" By asking such questions, we move from a vague concept to a more nuanced understanding. Asking why repeatedly, like a curious child but with adult discernment, can unravel complex issues. Why is this policy in place? Because it solves X. Why is X a problem? Because it leads to Y. This chain of whys can lead to the root cause, rather than just addressing symptoms. This process helps us identify our own biases. When we are forced to articulate the why behind our beliefs, we might discover that some are based on emotion, tradition, or hearsay, rather than on solid reasoning or evidence. This self-awareness is crucial for smarter thinking. Another powerful type of question explores implications and consequences. If this is true, then what follows? What are the potential short-term and long-term effects of this decision? This forward-thinking questioning helps us anticipate outcomes and make more considered choices. Think of a chess master. They don't just consider their next move, but several moves ahead, anticipating their opponent's responses and the cascading consequences of each choice. Better questions allow us to adopt a similar strategic foresight in our daily lives and decisions. Socrates famously engaged with experts, often revealing that their proclaimed knowledge was less solid than they believed. He wasn't trying to humiliate them, but to show that true expertise involves continuous questioning and a willingness to admit the limits of one's understanding. This applies to us too. When we think we know something, that's precisely when we should start asking questions. How do I know this? What are the counter-arguments? Could I be wrong? This intellectual humility prevents dogma and keeps the mind agile and open to learning. The Socratic method is not just for philosophical debates. It's a practical tool for everyday problem solving. Faced with a challenge, instead of jumping to solutions, start by questioning the problem itself. What is the real problem here? Am I addressing a symptom or the cause? Imagine your team is struggling with a project. Instead of asking who is to blame, better questions would be, what are the core obstacles? What assumptions did we make that proved incorrect? What different approaches could we try? What resources are we underutilizing? Asking better questions fosters creativity. When we challenge the status quo with what if, or why not questions, we open up new possibilities and pathways that were previously invisible. Innovation is often born from such inquiries. What if we tried the opposite of what's normally done? Why must this process follow these specific steps? These types of questions break ingrained patterns and can lead to breakthrough insights. They invite us to think outside the conventional medieval box. Learning to ask better questions also improves our communication. When we genuinely seek to understand another's viewpoint through curious inquiry, rather than preparing our rebuttal, conversations become more productive and relationships deepen. It shifts us from debate to dialogue. Instead of stating you're wrong, try asking, can you help me understand your reasoning on this? Or what leads you to that conclusion? This approach invites explanation rather than defensiveness, fostering a more open exchange of ideas. The beauty of Socratic questioning is its simplicity in principle, yet its depth in practice. It doesn't require esoteric knowledge, only a willingness to be curious, to think critically, and to embrace the discomfort of not knowing. How can we start cultivating this skill today? Begin by noticing the questions you currently ask, both of yourself and others. Are they open or closed? Do they seek information or confirmation? This initial awareness is the first step. Practice turning statements into questions. If you think, this will never work, transform it into, what specific factors make me believe this won't work? What conditions would need to change for it to work? Are there any parts of it that could work? When learning something new, don't just passively absorb information, actively question it. What are the underlying principles here? How does this connect to what I already know? What are the limitations of this explanation? This makes learning an active, engaging process. Embrace silence after asking a question, especially of yourself. Allow time for deeper thoughts to surface. Our brains need space to process and connect ideas. The most profound answers often come after a period of thoughtful quiet. Socrates understood that true intelligence isn't about having all the answers, but about knowing how to find them. And the primary tool for finding them is the well-crafted question. It's a skill that, once honed, serves you for a lifetime. Questions can be like a sculptor's chisel, chipping away at the rough stone of ignorance and confusion to reveal the elegant form of understanding within. Each thoughtful question refines our perception of reality. Consider the power of what if I'm wrong? This single question, honestly asked, can dismantle dogmatism, open the door to new perspectives, and foster intellectual humility. It's a hallmark of a truly smart thinker. When faced with information, especially from media or authority, develop the habit of asking, what is the source of this information? What biases might be present? What evidence supports this claim? Are there alternative interpretations? This is critical thinking in action. Questions help us define the scope of a problem. Is this problem truly as big as it seems, or am I catastrophizing? What specific aspects of it can I influence or control? This breaks overwhelming challenges into manageable parts. The Socratic method is empowering because it puts you in the driver's seat of your own understanding. You are not merely a recipient of knowledge, but an active seeker, a detective of truth, using questions as your primary investigative tool. Don't be afraid to ask stupid questions. Often, the most fundamental and seemingly obvious questions are the ones that are overlooked, and their answers can unlock profound insights. True intelligence is marked by curiosity, not by a fear of appearing ignorant. Socrates himself was condemned for corrupting the youth, largely because his questioning challenged established norms and made powerful people uncomfortable. This reminds us that seeking truth through questions can sometimes be a courageous act. But for our personal growth, this internal questioning is vital. Am I living in accordance with my values? What beliefs are holding me back? How can I be a better version of myself? These are deep, Socratic inquiries turned inward. The goal is not to become a relentless interrogator of others, but a relentless, compassionate interrogator of ideas, especially your own. It's about fostering a mindset of perpetual curiosity and critical self-reflection. Thinking smarter isn't about innate genius, it's about acquired skill. And the skill of asking better questions is one of the most powerful you can develop. It transforms you from a passive observer to an active architect of your understanding. When you encounter a complex text or a difficult concept, try to rephrase it in your own words and then ask questions about your rephrasing. Is my understanding accurate? What nuances am I missing? This deepens comprehension. What is the opposite of this statement, and could it also be true in some context? This question can help you explore paradoxes and develop a more flexible, less binary way of thinking, appreciating the complexities of most issues. Asking what assumptions am I making that I'm not aware I'm making is a profoundly Socratic act. It requires deep introspection and a willingness to uncover one's own intellectual blind spots. This is advanced thinking. The quality of our lives is often determined by the quality of our decisions, and the quality of our decisions is heavily influenced by the quality of our thinking. Better questions lead to better thinking, which leads to better decisions. Socrates' legacy is not a set of doctrines, but a method of inquiry. He taught us how to think, not what to think. This is why his approach remains so relevant and powerful thousands of years later. This process of questioning is like sharpening a blade. The more you use it, the keener your intellect becomes, the more precise your thoughts, and the more effectively you can cut through confusion to find clarity. So the invitation today is simple: become more curious. Approach the world and your own mind with a greater sense of inquiry. Don't settle for surface-level answers. Dare to ask the deeper, more challenging, more illuminating questions. When you feel stuck or confused, see it as an invitation to pause, reflect, and deploy your Socratic toolkit. What question, if asked right now, could unlock a new perspective? This isn't about finding one magic question. It's about cultivating a questioning mindset, an ongoing dialogue with yourself and the world that continually refines your understanding and leads to greater wisdom. Questioning your goals. Why do I want to achieve this? Is this goal truly my own or influenced by external pressures? What would successful achievement of this goal truly mean for me? This ensures your efforts are aligned with authentic desires. Even when you feel certain, ask one more question. What's one reason I might be mistaken? This practice, a form of intellectual stress testing, strengthens your conclusions if they hold up or reveals weaknesses if they don't. By embracing the Socratic spirit, we move from being passive consumers of information to active co-creators of meaning. We engage more deeply with life, and our minds become sharper, more agile, and more insightful. Think about a conversation where you felt truly understood or where you gained a profound insight. Chances are, good questions were at the heart of that exchange, guiding the discovery. The power of Socratic questioning lies in its ability to make us think, not just recall. It forces engagement, analysis, and synthesis, the very hallmarks of smarter cognition. When you listen to someone, Listen for the unasked questions beneath their statements. Gently probing these can lead to more meaningful connection and shared understanding. It sounds like you're concerned about X. Is that right? Asking questions about evidence. What is the quality of this evidence? Is it anecdotal or empirical? Are there multiple independent sources confirming this? This guards against misinformation and flawed reasoning. The Socratic path is one of continuous learning and self-correction. It accepts that we will always have more to learn, more to understand, and that questions are our most reliable guides on this infinite journey. Imagine a difficult decision you need to make. Instead of agonizing over options, start asking Socratic questions about each one. What are the core values reflected in this option? What are its hidden costs? Who benefits? Who might be harmed? This method teaches intellectual independence. Instead of relying on others for answers, you learn to develop your own well-reasoned conclusions. You become your own best thinker. Socrates' inquiries often led to aporia, a state of recognizing one's own lack of knowledge. This isn't failure. It's the fertile ground from which true learning and better questions can sprout. It's the clearing needed before new construction. Don't just ask questions. Listen intently to the answers, especially when questioning yourself. The insights are often there, waiting to be acknowledged. The answers we seek are often within us, unlocked by the right inquiry. The unexamined life is not worth living, Socrates famously declared. Examination implies questioning. By asking better questions, we not only think smarter, but we also live more consciously, more purposefully, and more richly. This practice can transform frustration into curiosity. When something doesn't make sense, instead of getting annoyed, get curious. Why is it this way? What am I missing? This shift in stance is profoundly empowering. Smarter thinking isn't just about IQ. It's about intellectual habits. The habit of questioning, of seeking clarity, of challenging assumptions, is a learnable skill that compounds over time, making you progressively wiser. Consider one area of your life where you feel stuck. What one powerful question, inspired by Socrates, could you ask yourself about it today? Write it down, ponder it, let it guide your thoughts. The legacy of Socrates is an invitation to intellectual adventure. It's a call to explore the vast landscapes of thought with curiosity as your compass and questions as your map. Better questions are not about finding fault, but about finding truth. They are constructive, not destructive. They build understanding, brick by brick, leading to a more solid and reliable mental edifice. As you master this art, you'll find yourself less swayed by rhetoric, more discerning of information, and more confident in your own ability to navigate complexity. Your mind becomes a clearer, more powerful instrument. So, the path to thinking smarter is paved with better questions. It's a journey of continuous inquiry, self-reflection, and discovery, inspired by a philosopher who understood that the beginning of wisdom is to question everything. Embrace the power of why, what if, how do I know, and what does this truly mean? Let these questions be your companions, guiding you towards a deeper understanding of yourself and the world. Thinking smarter is not a destination, but a way of traveling. The Socratic method offers one of the most reliable and rewarding vehicles for this journey, available to anyone willing to engage their curiosity. The wisest among us are not those with all the answers, but those who never stop asking the most insightful questions. May your own inquiries lead you to ever greater clarity and wisdom.